There's a strange kind of pain that almost no one talks about openly. A pain that doesn't bleed. Pain that doesn't scream. It's a pain that hides beneath everyday interactions, unnoticed by everyone except the person who feels it. It's the pain of becoming invisible. Not physically, of course, but emotionally, socially, psychologically. You start noticing it slowly. A message left unseen. People talking over you in a group conversation. Friends stopping, inviting you. A partner who once looked at you with full attention now seems distracted and distant. Family members who expect your help but offer none in return. At first, you brush it off. Maybe they're busy. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe it's nothing. But then the feeling grows. The calls decrease. Your presence stops mattering. Your voice carries no weight. Okay? People turn to you only when they need something. And worst of all, you begin to question your own worth. This is what psychological invisibility feels like. And it happens far more often than most people realize. Today, we're diving into the deep, uncomfortable truth behind why this happens, why people stop valuing you, okay? And what psychology says you can do to reverse it. Okay? This isn't just surface level motivation. What you're about to hear is raw, evidence-based psychological insight. Insights that can genuinely change the way people treat you, and more importantly, how you treat yourself. Let's begin. Before we can talk about reclaiming your value, we have to understand one disturbing but surprisingly common phenomenon. People don't become invisible overnight. They fade gradually, and almost always for the same reasons. First, you taught people to expect less from you. Human behavior is shaped by patterns, not moments. So when someone realizes you don't protest, you don't ask for more, you don't set limits, and you always say, "It's fine," your value begins to drop. Not because you aren't valuable, but because you've trained them to treat you that way. Psychology calls this behavioral conditioning. You constantly give. If you're always available, if you never say no, then you unintentionally teach others, "My time is cheap. My needs don't matter. You come first." People will rarely treat you better than you require them to. Second, you stop showing your real self. Many people become invisible because they shrink themselves to fit in. They hide the parts that make them unique. They keep quiet to avoid conflict. They become agreeable to avoid rejection. They avoid asking for what they want to avoid disappointment. Psychology calls this self-silencing, suppressing your needs, desires, or opinions to maintain harmony. But here's the dark irony. When you erase your edges, your colors, your boundaries, your personality, people stop seeing you, not because you lack value, but because you've hidden the very things that make you visible. Third, you rewarded disrespect. Okay, many people unintentionally reward behavior that hurts them. For example, they respond immediately to someone who has ignored them for days. Okay, they forgive without any conditions. They chase people who clearly don't care. Okay, they stay in conversations where they're not being treated well. Psychology calls this intermittent reinforcement hits, the same mechanism that keeps gamblers addicted. When someone treats you badly and you still reward them with your attention, it strengthens the disrespect. Fourth, you became too predictable. This one might hurt to admit. Humans value what's scarce, uncertain, or unique. But many people become invisible simply because they are always available, always accessible, always reliable, and always the same. Predictability is comfortable, but it isn't valuable. Your absence can often increase your presence far more than your constant availability ever could. And fifth, you were there during their worst times, so they associate you with that pain. This is a psychological phenomenon called emotional tagging. If you were the support friend who helped someone through their breakup, their depression, or their financial struggles, they might unconsciously associate you with their lowest emotional state. And the human brain naturally avoids what reminds it of pain. Now, let's get into the hard truth of why people stop valuing you. This might be uncomfortable, But if you can understand this, everything changes. First, the familiar becomes invisible. Humans stop noticing what is always present. Think about the quiet hum of a refrigerator, a ticking clock, or a chair in the corner of a room. They have value, but our brains filter out what feels constant. People do this with other humans, too. When you're always there, always reachable, always giving, you can become background noise. Second, you became a utility, not a person. A utility is something people use, not something they appreciate. Many individuals unintentionally slide into this category when they become the listener, the helper, the problem solver, the reliable one, the yes, of course, I can do it person. But when people only experience you through your usefulness, they start valuing you for what you provide, not for who you are. Third, you lost the element of social scarcity. Let's be brutally honest. Scarcity creates value. Availability decreases it. This isn't cruelty, it's biology. Humans are wired to desire what feels limited and to ignore what feels abundant. If you have no social scarcity, you always there, people subconsciously assume you'll always be there. And because of that, they stop trying. Fourth, you don't command emotional space. Some people walk into a room and everyone feels their presence, not because they're loud or arrogant, but because they occupy emotional space. Others shrink their presence, apologizing for existing, speaking quietly, moving carefully. Psychology calls this social presence, blend of self-worth, posture, tone, energy, and boundaries. When your presence shrinks, your visibility shrinks right along with it. And finally, people mirror how you treat yourself. This is the most painful truth of all. If you disrespect your own time, tolerate poor treatment, betray your own needs, make yourself small, and hide your feelings, then the world simply follows your lead. Becoming invisible affects far more than just your relationships. It slowly destroys your identity. You start to lose your sense of worth, asking dangerous questions like, am I the problem? Or, what's wrong with me? The truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. You simply adopted patterns that signal invisibility. You slowly disconnect from who you really are, and you start attracting the wrong kinds of people, takers, manipulators, and energy vampires. Strong, healthy individuals don't stay where they can't respect you. So, how do you reverse this? This part is about reclaiming your value. First, reintroduce social scarcity. This is the fastest and most powerful shift. It's not about playing games or being manipulative, but about pulling your energy back into yourself. Delay your responses instead of replying instantly. Decline things that drain you. Make fewer unnecessary apologies. When people realize you're no longer always there, your value instantly rises. Second, speak less, but mean more. Invisible people often talk around things, become clear, firm, and concise. Psychologists call this high-value communication. Short sentences, a confident tone, and no over-justifying. The less you speak, the more meaning your words carry. Third, start saying no. No is a filter. It filters out users and manipulators. Healthy people respect boundaries. Unhealthy people leave when you enforce them. Okay. Either outcome increases your value. And stop over-explaining yourself. Replace long, apologetic sentences with simple statements like, that doesn't work for me. It's short, clear, respectful, and powerful. Next, remove low-value energy behaviors. These are things that silently kill your presence, like nervous smiling, slouching, or whispering your opinions. Reverse them. Stand straighter. Speak slower. Take your time. Hold eye contact for 1 second longer. These small changes have a massive impact. Reconnect with your identity. Revisit old hobbies. Express your opinions and make choices without seeking approval. Visibility begins with authenticity, and stop chasing. There's a psychological law. What you chase pulls away. When you stop chasing people, you stop signaling that you are the lesser one, and your value resets. Reward the right people. Must. Pouring energy into anyone who doesn't listen, reciprocate, or value you. Instead, invest your attention in people who make you feel seen. The fastest way to stop being invisible is to stop standing in places that require you to hide. Finally, choose self-respect over being liked. This is the hardest step. To stop being invisible, you must be willing to upset people who benefit from you staying small. You must choose clarity over comfort, boundaries over approval, and truth over silence. Some people will dislike the new you, but that's because the old you made their life easier. The right people will admire your clarity. The wrong people will disappear. Both outcomes are a victory. Once you begin reversing this cycle, a strange and beautiful thing happens. Your world rearranges itself around your value. People will listen more carefully. They'll respect your time. They'll treat you like someone who matters. Not because they changed, but because you did. If you've ever felt unseen or unappreciated, you must understand this. Your invisibility was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of your patterns. Patterns that can be unlearned. You can become visible again, and not just visible undeniable. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content on building a stronger, more authentic self. I'll see you next time.